I don't wanna harm you. Yeah, I'm just hoping to charm you.
Good evening, motorsport maniacs, brand loyal beverage drinkers, and everyone still emotionally attached to Jeff Gordon's DuPont fire suit. Welcome to the Late Lap, the only show where the horsepower is high, the sarcasm is higher, and the hot takes, well, let's just say they come with more downforce than a low-drag Talladega setup. Tonight's show is packed tighter than a Bristol pit lane. We're talking NASCAR redemption in South Beach, Nitro thunder through the Tennessee hills, corporate overload in Montreal, and the most interesting electric truck in America that doesn't try to look like an iPhone on wheels. That's right. The championship weekend is headed back to Homestead, where titles are supposed to be decided, not in a sand trap in Phoenix. NHRA, they're doing something rare, using logic and celebrating 25 years at Joliet with a crowd pleaser of a comeback. And just when you thought brand overload couldn't get any worse, Montreal threw a marketing Molotov cocktail into Crescent Street and dared you to read the full event title without passing out. Also tonight, a truck that lets you build it, wrap it, and haul it, and all of your weird stuff around, all for under $20,000. It's called the Slate truck, and I swear, it's not a tech cult yet. Plus, we've got a little trip down memory lane back to 2001 when Kansas hosted its very first cup race. Jeff Gordon taught a master class in control, Rusty Wallace got caught speeding on pit road, and half the field left in wreckers. It was messy, it was magical. It was the kind of race that makes today's overly scripted chaos feel like we traded real grit for TikToks and fire warmers. And yeah, we're going to rant, we're going to roast, and we're going to revel in the fact that every once in a while, motorsports does listen to the fans. Usually 5 years late, but still, we take our wins where we can get them. Buckle up, power down, your PR-approved personality. Let's hit it. This is Late Lap. Breaking news, people. For the first time since we lost our collective minds and wandered into the desert, we are going home. That's right. The NASCAR Championship weekend is coming back to Homestead-Miami Speedway in 2026. And let me just say what every sane racing fan's been screaming into the abyss since 2020. It never should have left. You know, I want to just pull out a tiny cactus and set it gently on my desk. No offense to Phoenix. I love a good paper cut corner and dehydration, just like the next guy. But championships aren't supposed to end with the tire fall off and the tumbleweeds. They're supposed to end with multi-groove magic, sunset silhouette dive bombs, and drivers risking their careers on the high side at Homestead like they've got everything left to live for. We crowned champions at Homestead from 2002 to 2019. That is 18 straight years of unmatched title drama. That's where Jimmy Johnson rewrote the record books, where Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards gave us the greatest one-on-one duel in playoff history, where Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch turned playoff pressure into championship rings. This track doesn't just host drama, it prints legacies. And now we've got a rotating championship model, which is cool, sure, but let's be honest. This isn't a rotation. This is a victory lap for a decision NASCAR should have made 5 years ago. This is NASCAR waking up like Wait, we gave up South Beach and side-by-side finishes for golf carts and sunsets? But hey, like they say in racing, better late than never, and better Homestead than anywhere else. 2026 is going to be the most aerodynamically satisfying, emotionally redemptive, and two-groove showdown of a finale we've had in years. And if you think guys like Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, or Brad Keselowski haven't already circled this on their Places I Win Things calendar, then you haven't been paying attention. So, to everyone who ever screamed, "Bring it back" into the void, congratulations! You've been heard. You were right. And more importantly, you're going to get one hell of a title fight in South Florida. Take off our little sunglasses here. Homestead, where titles are grown, legends are born, and the only thing higher than the groove is the humidity. Look, in a world where too many racetracks become warehouses and strip malls, we have some other great news to talk about. The Chicagoland Gerber Peak Nationals are returning to Joliet. Let's take a second to give credit where it's due, because Chicago is still on the map. And not just for deep dish and double plays. The NHRA and ISC pulled off something that's rarer than a whole shot from your grandma's minivan. Cooperative that kept major market drag strips alive. And I'll say it, they nailed it. Now, they have been racing at Joliet the last couple of years, and Route 66 Raceway could have been left in the weeds like so many other forgotten speed temples. But instead, it's celebrating 25 total years of flame-throwing, wall-blurring, parachute-popping madness, right where it belongs. That doesn't happen by accident. It takes vision. It takes partnership. And yeah, it takes someone in a suit realizing that the Chicago market matters. We know it does in the NASCAR. Look what they've done out on the streets. And this isn't just another stop on the calendar. This is the place where John Force became the winningest driver in NHRA history. It's where Erica Enders took her first Pro Stock win. Where Antron Brown, Tony Schumacher, and Matt Hagan all built their legacies. It's more than nostalgia. It's viability. Fans are showing up. The racing is insane. And let's be real. You can't call yourself a national series if you're not showing up in all of America's biggest cities. You know, for a sport that runs on nitro and risk, it's refreshing to see a decision rooted in good old-fashioned common sense. NHRA gets the win. ISC gets the win. And Chicago race fans, they get a 330-mile-an-hour high five all weekend long. So here's to 25 years of Route 66 Thunder. Here's to drag racing in the Windy City. And here's to doing what's right for the fans. Because for once, NASCAR and NHRA are both in it together. And they're both doing the right thing, and I love it. The only thing more powerful than these cars in Chicago was the teamwork that must have been present to make it all happen. I'm so glad they're going back to the Chicago market. Definitely want to get your tickets. You can go to NHRA.com. 888casino.net Crescent Street Grand Prix Festival presented by Corona and Liquid I.V. is back in Montreal. All right, folks, get ready for this. We're going to do it again. Get ready for the most adrenaline-fueled, influencer-infested branding bonanza north of Daytona. Okay, the 888casino.net Crescent Street Grand Prix Festival presented by Corona and Liquid I.V. is back in Montreal. That's not a sentence. That's a marketing hostage situation. I tried reading the full title out loud earlier today, but I accidentally summoned a Monster Energy ambassador to my living room. Let's unpack this. The title sponsor is an online casino. The presenting sponsor is a beer. The Pit Stop Challenge is brought to you by a hydration powder. The main stage run is by a tequila brand. The car dealership sponsor is here. There's a vodka sponsor. There's a window film sponsor. At this point, if you're not sponsored by something, I don't think they'll even let you into Montreal. Seriously, If you show up unbranded, someone might slap a QR code on your ass just to balance the ad spend. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Montreal. The Crescent Street source during race week is like Bourbon Street, got a motorcycle degree. Now, you're going to get exotic cars, thumping music, celebrities pretending they know how to change tires, and exactly 0 minutes of quiet. It's glorious chaos. So, whether you are double fisting a Corona and a Liquid IV, which, by the way, sounds like a hungover chicken or the egg situation, or you're just there to watch the influencers attempt to pit stop in their designer tools, the 888casino.net Crescent Street Grand Prix Festival, presented by Corona and Liquid IV, is going to be loud, ridiculous, and probably smell like sunscreen and tire rubber by noon. And that's modern motorsports, folks. We've reached the age where the brand activations have a higher driver count than the supportive series. And I gotta be honest again, I kind of love it. Just remember, hydrate with Liquid IV, celebrate with El Jimenador, drive something from Duari, and protect it with Expel. And don't forget to place your bets at 888casino.net. All before you even see a race car. Let's talk about something else. And folks, this is something that I think personally is really, really cool. Okay. I told you when we started this show that quite often we were going to bridge the gap between the racing community and the auto industry. Well, we've got another bitchin' car to talk about today. It's game changing. I'm talking about the Slate truck. Look it up. Just not until after the show. Yeah. The Slate, the beautifully stripped down, radically built EV that might just be the best idea the auto industry's had in decades. This isn't some overdesigned showroom peacock. This is form, function, and future in one brilliantly minimal package. A truck that shows up as a two-seater, gives you steel wheels, crank windows, and says, hey, build the rest yourself and have fun with it. Slate doesn't just sell you a truck. They hand you a canvas. Want a 5-seat SUV instead? Cool. Buy the kit, bolt it on, and go. 1 minute it's hauling lumber. The next it's, taking the family up to the lake. It's like Lego for grown-ups that does 0 to 60 and charges overnight. You don't need a PhD infotainment to use it. You bring your phone, you bring your tech. Slate doesn't want you to lock down into their interface. They want you to unlock the experience. And that's a wrap idea. Genius. Don't repaint it. Just wrap, unwrap, and rewrap it. Slate, like it's your personality in motion. 1 week, it's tactical matte black. Next week, it's banana hammock yellow with lightning bolts. And no one's judging. Slate's just out here vibing. And here's where they really stick the landing. Under $20,000 after incentives for a customizable EV platform in America with safety features, airbags, a trunk the size of your dreams, and a direct-to-consumer model that actually makes sense. Order it online. Pick it up near home. No dealerships, no upcharges, no gimmicks. Smart, simple, usable transportation. Slate didn't try to out-Tesla anyone. They out-logicked the whole system. So if you are tired of spending $70,000 on pickups, that brag about massaging seats and Alexa, Slate is your answer. It's the future of driving made affordable, modular, and real. And you better believe we'll be watching this one closely. Because if this truck is half as good as the practice as it is on the concept, the Slate team just might be writing the new rulebook for American mobility. I love electric cars. And that's not really a popular opinion, considering the fact that I come primarily from Nitro racing. But it's not that I want it to replace great racing. It's not that I want it to do anything. I just want it to have its place in history. Well, history is going to be made this summer at Bristol, at Thunder Valley, and the NHRA is returning to Bristol on June 8th. Get ready, race fans. Thunder Valley is about to erupt. The Super Grip NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals will roar back into beautiful Bristol Dragway June 6th through the 8th, and this isn't just a race. It's the highlight of the NHRA season in my heart. Picture a sweeping drone shot of Bristol carving into the mountains. Nestled deep in the hills of the Tennessee, this place isn't called Thunder Valley for nothing. Then put 12,000 horsepower in the left and 12,000 horsepower in the right. Those nitro-powered machines screaming through those mountains at over 330 mile an hour. Sensory shattering as motorsport gets. Friday night, Nitro under the lights. Saturday night, full throttle qualifying, plus the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge. And of course, on Sunday, June 8th, elimination battles between every pro class and some of your favorite in the amateur and semi-pros. Fireworks, yes. Autographs, yes. Fan fests, yes. It's all there. This is the race where stars are made and legends are lit. Tony Stewart, Brittany Force, Austin Prock, Ron Capps, Jake Coughlin, if their names are in the lights, they're charging through Bristol. And if you can't make it, catch all the action on FS1. Friday night qualifying at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday eliminations live at 3 p.m. Eastern. Trust me, though, you want to be there. You can get your tickets now at nhra.com/tickets and be a part of one of the most unforgettable weekends in all of racing. I'm going to lower my voice here for drama. Thunder Valley, don't whisper, it howls. What do we have here? Oh, Armando in the comments section. Our man, Armando, back-to-back nights. Yes, we're here at Late Lap. I'm just catching up to our comments section. And thank you all for tuning in. Last night we had 15 viewers. I'm very realistic about what we're growing here. Dave W., a great person to talk to, and he's mentioning Joliet. Dave, rewind. We talked about Joliet. I'm thrilled. I can't wait. And of course, the Boss Man sponsors on the logo, the Gerber Nationals, presented by Peak. It's wondermus. And Mondo, man, talk about that slate. I think if you'd get one and I would get one, we could then take it to the drag strip and we could race. Of course, the last time Armando and I race, Jack Beckman's boy whooped our asses. June 6th through the 8th, Bristol Dragway, the Super Grip NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals. Be there when the mountains shake. Well, we talked a lot about drag racing, a little bit of the oval world, and of course, my background started in NASCAR in 2001. NASCAR returns to Kansas this coming weekend, and I wanted to go a little fast track NASCAR history. The first time NASCAR ever raced was the Protection 400 at Kansas Speedway. Gather round, race fans. Let me take you back to the land of frosted tips, dial-up tones, and Dale vs. Jeff debates. It's 2001. NASCAR is booming. America is still resetting after 9/11. Patriotism's out of 10. Stock car racing is doing what stock car racing does, going fast and finding new places to do it. September 30, 2001, enter Kansas Speedway. A gleaming new 1.5-mile tri-oval ready to test fenders, nerves, and tempers. And in a qualifying shocker, rookie Jason Leffler, looking like a baby-faced outlaw with a singular wireless flamed suit, stuns the field and snatches the pole. The number 01 Dodge turned that lap 176.499 mile an hour. Still a lot slower than the world's fastest motorsport of NHRA, let's not forget. For 30 seconds, America agreed. That Leffler kid might have something. Jeff Gordon started second, Bill Elliott third, and deep in the field, a young Kurt Busch in 40th. Welcome to Kansas, kid. Green flag, lap 1, and wreck 1. Nothing says welcome like a wreck before the first corner. Casey Atwood, John Andretti, and Ricky Craven create the first of 13 exhausting caution flags. That's not a race. That's bumper cars with corporate sponsors. You hear me bitch and moan about it all the time. But something I do like, a dynasty of a race. and there was real domination out of that Leffler kid. The rookie led the opening 8 laps before the stars show up to say, "Nice try, sport." And of course, the Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon grabbed the lead on lap 9. Bill Elliott took over on lap 23, flexing his Dodge muscle. Elliott led 33 laps, the most he would lead in any race all season. Spoiler, he didn't finish the race. So the race did, though, take place. You had Jeff Gordon in a Chevy, Ricky Rudd in a Ford, Rusty Wallace in a Dodge. Pontiac, they're struggling. Toyota, nowhere near stock car racing yet. Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace begin a game of high-speed musical chairs. Gordon leads. Rudd bumps him off. Rusty says, "Hold my Miller Lite," and proceeds to lead 117 laps like he owns the place. Of course, there was no casino there at the time, so you couldn't just bet on it. But it was that type of dominance. The odds were in your favor, and it was textbook. It was almost too good to be true. It was, really. I mean, if you think about it. Mid-race carnage. The yellow flag got more TV time than some drivers. The red flag came out for 11 minutes. Cautions bred cautions. Stacy Compton spun, Matt Kenseth wrecked, Dale Earnhardt Jr. hit a wall, Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett got wiped out in a late field crash. A field of 43 dwindled to a rolling junkyard of just a few. Rusty Wallace, who had led so many laps, over 100 in the event, he got a speeding penalty, and it cost him. In what can only be described as NASCAR's most tragic case of foot on the pedal syndrome, Rusty got caught speeding on pit road. 117 total laps led, but 0 trophies that day and 1 bruised ego. Gordon took advantage and never looked back. Final stretch of the race. Gordon put on a clinic. With Rusty penalized, Gordon guides past Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd. Ricky, who gave chase like a man who knows second place, gets the participation ribbon. And young Ryan Newman, in only his 3rd ever career start, snuck into second, but he couldn't touch the Rainbow Warrior. Behind them, it was all chaos, tire rubs, bent sheet metal, McDonald's wrappers in the grills, but one checkered flag. And Jeff Gordon won the inaugural Kansas race. It was the 6th win of the season. He led 53 total laps and earned that prestigious 180 points scored. Of course, nowadays, a perfect race is 60. So does that mean those races were worth 3 times as much? Who knows? He walked away with a 222-point lead in the standings, more than a full race over second place. And he beat the odds. He beat the field. And he did it all while looking like the cover star of a Rayovac battery pack. Other notable finishes were Sterling Marlin, sporting the most patriotic livery in history. Kurt Busch, we mentioned him, started 40th, finished 9th, ended up being an inevitable Hall of Famer. He's on the ballot right now. Jason Leffler, who's now late Jason Leffler, crashed out in 28th. He went from pole to the pits in 256 laps. NHRA winning driver Tony Stewart, NASCAR Hall of Famer, finished 8th, probably still pretty angry. Post-race, Gordon celebrated like it was Y2K all over again. Rusty pretended not to seethe. Kansas Speedway high-fives itself for surviving its first dance. And once again, Gordon, he might as well have already booked his championship banquet because he won big. The final thoughts on the race, though, was it was a race of firsts. It was the first Cup race at Kansas, the first pole for Leffler, the first time Rusty Wallace had forgot where the pit speed limiter was, and one more win for prime Jeff Gordon, who reminded everyone why he wore the crown. So next time you're stuck in traffic on I-70 outside Kansas City, just remember, 20 years ago, 43 cars went 400 miles at 110 miles an hour, and only about 8 of them didn't leave with scars. Stay tuned later this summer as we go through time in the era of Winston and R.J. Reynolds, the true brand that's the reason why the motorsport you love, NASCAR, drag racing, grassroots racing, without R.J. Reynolds, none of them would be here. We will celebrate more. Of course, we'll also talk about a few more wheel rubs and Wild West racetracks. But for now, this has been your episode of This Week in Racing History. And just like a Cup race at Homestead, we've worked every groove tonight. We threw it up against the wall in South Florida, cranked up the Nitro in Thunder Valley, dodged a pit stop full of sponsors in Montreal, and time traveled back to 2001 when Rusty was still raging and Jeff was grinding. We celebrated what's working, like NHRA and ISC teaming up to keep drag racing alive in Chicago. We poked fun at what was broken, the race names longer than a CVS receipt, and we even gave love to a little truck named Slate that might just redefine what it means to build your own road. Racing has always been about momentum. Sometimes you're flying down a straightaway, other times you're limping off pit road with half a fender but a full heart. But the key has always been the same. Keep going. And maybe that's what this show, and now this, sport is all about. Moving forward, laughing at all of the chaos, holding on to the magic, and remembering at the end of the day, behind every wheel and a keyboard and a garage door, there's a human being trying to do their best. So wherever you're watching from, the infield, your couch, or somewhere between a broken dream and a fresh restart, hear me loud and clear. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Smile, be happy, and until then. And to our friends in the South, sea amable consigo mismo. Sea amable con otros. Sonría, sea feliz. Hasta entonces. Cuídese. Take care.